What's up guys, welcome back to another video, hope you're doing well today. So this sim video is going to be a little bit different to the usual format. I'm going to be treating it more as like an MX Bikes video where I just ride and talk at the same time. There's not really going to be much editing involved here. I do want to say though that on this track, this is Manchester Round 2 made by Matt Robb, and I've got no start gates. And I have Stone Point 1, so I've got the first round of the tracks he's done, but I'm guessing that the start gates rely on another track that I just haven't got, so I can't see any gates on this track for some reason. However, I wanted to make a video on this track because at the point of recording this, this video is being recorded like 4 or 5 days ahead of time, but yesterday I was qualifying for this race. It was NA race, so it was going to be about 1:30 in the morning for me, which I was going to stick it out and just and record the race and then talk about it afterwards because I thought it'd be quite good content. However, the host wasn't there on time, so it got delayed like another half hour, and I had work the next day and didn't want to stay up all night, so I made the sensible choice of going to bed and not doing the race, so we'll save that for another day. However, I was quite surprised whilst doing my qualifying and such that I still seem to be somewhat competitive. Definitely not in terms of consistency right now, because the consistency is just out the window. It's something that I do really need to improve on. But as like one lap speed goes, it wasn't terrible. I was doing it on the 250. I'm on the 450 now, just for the sake of the video. This track's a whole lot easier on the 450. All of the big lines are so much more doable. But I was hitting a majority of the big lines on the 250 with not too much difficulty. This is one right here that's quite hard, is stepping onto this tabletop. But it was quite nice. I got back into that groove of what I used to feel back in the day of hopping into qualifying servers, grinding out the laps, trying to get a faster time, and I must have done a good 5 or 6 qualifying sessions for this race, and the qualifying sessions, they're about 10 minutes each, so a good hour plus really of sitting there kind of sweating my ass off trying to get that perfect lap. And every time I finished a lap and I thought, right, there's no way I can beat that, I still found myself trying again and again. And you know, my lap time, it ended up being, I mean, if people want to compare times on this track, I haven't really grinded out a 450 lap just yet, so it's hard to tell, but my lap time on a 250 was a 1:14.2 was the best lap I ended up with. And at the time where I stopped looking at qualifying, it was about 4th place, which I was quite happy with. There was a lot less sign-ups for the NA race than there was EU, bear in mind, so it's not as much of a comparison. It probably would have been something like 10th or worse if it was in EU. But it was nice to see. And granted, I was still like 4 seconds off the pace. There's some people that I've never even heard of their names that are now like the rippers of this game, and it goes to show how old I am and how long it's been since I've been in the competitive scene. But there was a couple other people in Discord doing it that I speak to on a fairly recent basis that have really gotten into sim more often since the issues that Beta 17 had before the online issues have been fixed. They just kind of drifted over to sim for a bit whilst everything was being sorted out, and it was nice to rekindle that feeling of playing sim with friends again, which is something that I've not had for quite a long time. And it's actually it's a bad thing in a way as well, because I'm sat here being beaten by people that I'm thinking, you know what, if this was back in the day, I'd be absolutely stomping all of you right now. And it's a bad mentality to have, but at the same time, it can definitely be frustrating when you're not quite as good at something as you used to be. I'm sure a bunch of you have a game out there that you dedicated a lot of time to when you was younger, and now you kind of come back to it every now and then, and you realise that you're just a little bit washed up. Sim is that game for me. Another one for me would be like CSGO or Valorant. I used to be quite decent at both of those, and if I hop on those now, I'm pretty sure I haven't actually got thumbs. I feel like I can't aim whatsoever on mouse and keyboard nowadays, but it is what it is. We move on to other games, we get good at other games, and I just kind of wanted to give Matt Robb a bit of a shout out as well in this video, because he's made all of the Supercross tracks from Reflex, which is a big task in itself. Really, really creative stuff, really well done. And then at the same time, both the gear and the bike that I'm running right now were made by him as well. So really nice guy, really generous of him to message me out of the blue asking if I needed any gear. So I can only say thank you really, and kind of show off his stuff for you guys. I'm not sure if he kind of takes requests and things like that for gear sets or whatever, but yeah, it was just a really nice thing for him to do, especially since my previous videos I've just had like I've had stock gear, stock bike, and it's just looked a little bit a little bit noobish. It's always nice when even just getting a name and number on something, it's nice enough. And funnily enough, on sim I can actually do that myself. I do know how to make skins on sim. Granted, not the actual gear itself, like trying to get like sponsors and designs and stuff to line up on the PSDs of the actual gears must be a nightmare. But to put name and numbers on things, it's actually a lot easier on sim than it is on bikes, in my opinion at least. But yeah, I used to do that back in the day, and I remember way back when I had like a privateer set up, and it was almost entirely white, other than like a white and a red stripe on it. And at the time, I think I thought it looked incredible. And however, looking back at it now, it's just like, what on earth was that? It's actually vile. I also ran. It was a Cowie, so it was like the really old. If anyone's up to date on sim, it was the really old. I think his name's JVDL. Something along those lines. Really old Cowie model that he made. I want to say like 2012-ish or something like that. The year of the Cowie was. But I made it like a really bright cyan, so just like a really light blue. And again, at the time, I thought it looked great. Like young me with his color combos, I thought it looked great. And looking back at it again, it was absolutely atrocious. And not only did I have like a light blue Cowie, I then had an almost entirely pink kit. If anybody is kind of up to date with Ariel, and Stone Rider's like virtual brand, it used to kind of be quite popular in sim as well, and he released these Ariel kit PSDs, and I took that and kind of changed the colours on it, made it my own, put my name and number on it, and it must have been absolutely tragic to look at. I do apologise for anyone that had to download that and race against me with it, but it's quite nice, reminiscent on what used to be every now and then. And of course, I wish I was as good at sim now as I used to be. It would make my life a whole lot easier when I come to recording the weekly Would I Qualify videos. I feel like that's what I'm going to start calling them. I'm just going to start calling them Would I Qualify. Yeah, it'd make life a whole lot easier. And it's been a bit of a reality check of not getting any younger. You know, I'm not going to sit here being all depressed about getting old or whatever, but I'm quite a big Rocket League fan as well. And when you watch professional Rocket League and you realise that 90% of the people on there are like younger than 18 years old, and it's like, yeah, maybe I've not quite got the skills or the reflexes or whatever to do what I used to do, and I just need to kind of enjoy the games for what they're worth now and not try and be overly competitive about things. And if you are a competitive person, as I know probably most of you are, I know we play these games and we really get into them to the point that we rage and kind of like shout things at our computer and this, that and the other. We're all competitive people, and sometimes feel like we need to take a little step back and just enjoy it. And especially if you're a little bit younger, you won't know it when it's in the moment it's happening, but you probably find that these are your like glory days. And you know, when people reference every now and then the good old days, like for me, for example, I could say the good old days of being like Modern Warfare 2, for example, and games like that. And when you're in the moment, you don't realise you're in them. It's only when that moment's kind of been and gone that you realise. So any advice I give you right now is, if you've got a group of friends and you're playing games each day and you're enjoying yourself, just try and make the most of it. Because I've been in so many different like friends, like virtual friend circles over here, so to speak. I've got a handful of IRL friends that I kind of keep close to me. The rest I don't really bother. I'm not someone that needs to talk to a whole bunch of people all the time. I've got my close few, and that's enough for me. But like over the years, I've been through my various virtual quote-unquote friend circles on different games, whether it be Call of Duty or Sim, for example, and then now bikes, and they all come and go. So just make the most of it whilst you can. And some people will kind of stick along for the ride and be with you long term, and then others just it's not meant to be. It is what it is. You know, everyone's got their own life, everyone's got their own paths, and as I say, people come and go. I mean, if we're talking in the bikes scene, for example, I mean, who would let's use Tylen as an example. He was a very like big name in the community, seemed to all be going well, seemed to be happy, and then out of the blue he's kind of like he's made a life-changing choice for himself, which is more power to him. If he's not comfortable doing what he's doing and he wants to do something else, then he can go and do it. But it just goes to show that nothing's here forever, which is why in terms of YouTube as well, whilst I'm kind of doing what I'm doing and enjoying what I'm doing most of all and being successful from it, I'm going to keep doing it as much as I can. And I suppose really I've just got all the people that are supportive of the channel to thank, because even since day one, the growth that I've experienced in such a short amount of time has really blown me away. I mean, I've tried doing the YouTube thing before years and years ago. Granted, I've done it the wrong way. Like when I was younger, for example, I recorded on a phone, or I recorded on, if anyone remembers, I never had an Elgato, I don't think. I think I had, it was called like was it a Hauppauge HD PVR, which I'd plug into my old PlayStation 3, for example, and the quality just looked dreadful, and I must have been a bit of a squeaker. I can't find half the channels anymore, but I'll have to try and see if I can go digging and try and find some old videos that I've done, just to kind of look back and laugh at. But if you're going to do YouTube like nowadays, just make sure that you're doing it because you enjoy it. Just don't expect anything out of it. That's the biggest thing, because if you go into it expecting to get to a certain size, and kind of, if you want to go into it making a living out of it, and that's your only expectation, then you're not going to get anywhere. You need to enjoy it first of all, and then like the money side of things and potentially making a living out of it is a byproduct. For me right now, I'm not quite at a place where I'd be able to do YouTube full time. It's kind of just on the horizon. However, in my brain, I don't want to give up my day job and just rely solely on YouTube. I think whilst I'm in the position I'm in, where I live in at home with my mum, dad and brother, for example, and I'm in a position where I'm able to save money, save up for a deposit for my own house, and I'm kind of try and get the most out of it that I can. And there's nothing wrong with having two jobs. I kind of consider this a second job. I've got my day job first and foremost, and then this comes afterwards. And whilst I do want to try and post every day on this channel, sometimes it may not be doable. I might have other outside commitments, but it's kind of here in the background. If it suddenly out of the blue one day absolutely takes off, and like the viewership doubles, for example, and the revenue puts me in a much better place, or like more of a consistent place, then who knows, that might be the path that I go down, and I quit my day job and put more of a focus and effort and editing into these. But for now, I'm quite happy treating this as like a side thing, and that's probably quite a big reason as well, actually, as to why I don't go in and really like heavily edit these videos and add in like little funny bits and like memes here and there. It's all that bit on the side for me, and I do this after my day job. You know, I log off at like 5, half 5. Sometimes I need to do a bit of overtime, so it'll be later than that, but I'll have my dinner, you know, chill out for a bit, and then record a video, edit it and upload it all in the same day. And where I've got kind of external responsibilities as well. For example, I see my girlfriend like for weekends every now and then, where she lives far away. There's some days where I might need to record 2 or 3 videos in a row, just to make sure that I stay up to date and give you guys the content that you need. And it's something that I do still enjoy. It's something that I'm just going to keep doing until you guys stop watching. I suppose that's the biggest thing. As long as there's people out there enjoying it, then that's more than enough for me. And I feel like I've done the usual Linz thing of starting a video with one topic and ending it on something else, but I suppose the message of the video is do what you enjoy. Enjoy what you enjoy. That's a bit of a weird statement, but yeah, make the most of it whilst you can. And yeah, I don't know where else I'm going with this, really. Again, shout out to Matt Rob. These tracks are really enjoyable. I have a hell of a lot of fun on them. The lap time I got there was a 1:15.7. I can't even remember if I threw down a massively fast lap, but embarrassingly enough, it's like 5 seconds off of what the top 250 qualifying time that I saw yesterday. So still got a lot of work to do. However, I do think that it's slowly coming back to me. You know, the muscle memory is slowly filtering through, and at the same time, I don't feel like it's impeding me too much back on bikes. I was worried that if I was to start playing sim a bunch more as well, that my bike's kind of skill and speed would suffer, but it doesn't seem to be the case. I seem to be doing okay on both still, so I'm more than happy to keep doing these videos, and it's definitely refreshing for me getting to switch between games. And seems like everyone that watched the Roblox videos, the last 2 that went out, found those a bit interesting as well, and that's just a bit of fun every now and then. That's not going to be a common thing, don't worry. But we've got more motocross games on the horizon. You know, we've got Monster Energy Supercross 5, which I'm hoping will be okay. I have actually been enjoying Supercross 4 now that I've kind of got into it and worked the physics out a bit more. I've got quite far in the campaign of that. I've not got to pro level yet, but I've gone through the futures and I've gone through rookie as well. Yeah, just enjoying my gaming right now. There's a couple good motocross games out there. I wish that we had some more. I wish we had like a Reflex 2.0, but obviously that's never going to happen. Yeah, that'll do it for me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please feel free to drop a like. It's always appreciated and helps the channel out massively. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. And yeah, have a lovely day, whatever it is you're up to. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
My tent way too damn dark. Laugh in your face like man dark. Came a long way from the bad days way back. Had to burn down that landmark. Seen some things I ain't really want to see. It's all good, that's what made me me. Now who would I be if I had it easy? Used to break down, now I'm in a 350. Like whoa, I've been laying way too low. Had to switch up and change my flow, cause I'm back from the block. Had to bust some rocks and dust off the dust and get back in the box. Now why you wanna